4 years, Clayton Moore was the perfect hero on television, riding across screens as the Lone Ranger. But in 1952, he suddenly vanished from the show without explanation. Was it due to money, control, or something else? His replacement failed to connect with audiences, and when Moore eventually returned, he never spoke of what really happened. Then in the 1980s, a shocking lawsuit tried to take away his mask forever. Behind the legend was a man who faced darker battles than any villain on TV. Born Jack Carlton Moore on September 14, 1914, in Chicago, he was the youngest of 3 sons in a financially stable family, even during the Great Depression. While others struggled, the Moores had a maid and a vacation home in Canada. This security gave Jack the freedom to dream. Rejecting his father's hopes of him becoming a doctor, Jack instead pursued physical performance. By age 8, he was a circus acrobat, training hard during summers in Canada. At 19, he was a catcher in the Flying Bears trapeze group, dangerous work that demanded strength and trust. In 1934, he performed at the Chicago World's Fair, impressing thousands daily and catching the eye of talent scouts. With his good looks and charisma, he landed a modeling contract in New York with the John Robert Powers Agency. Throughout the late 1930s, Jack appeared in catalogs and ads, representing the ideal American image. Yet, the silence of photos left him yearning for more. In 1938, he risked everything and moved to Hollywood with no guaranteed roles, just hope, a portfolio, and athletic skills. He took bit parts, stunt work, and background roles, treating every experience as training. By 1940, producer Edward Small gave him a break and suggested a name change. Jack became Clayton Moore. That same year, he married Mary Frances in a Vegas elopement, but they divorced 2 years later. Moore's career was just taking off when he starred in Perils of Nyoka in 1942, performing daring stunts and captivating audiences as Dr. Larry Grayson. Despite its $175,000 budget, the serial was a hit. But Moore paused his rising stardom to serve in World War II, joining the Army Air Forces. Due to a past knee injury, he didn't see combat but organized troop entertainment and later worked with the 1st Motion Picture Unit on training films like Target Invisible. During this time, he proposed to model Sally Allen by phone. She said yes and moved to Arizona. Their marriage lasted 43 years until Sally's death in 1986. After the war, Moore dove back into westerns, appearing alongside stars like Roy Rogers and Gene Autry in films such as The Cowboy and the Indians, Riders of the Whistling Pines, and Barbed Wire. His early masked role in The Crimson Ghost hinted at what was to come. In 1947, he played Jesse James in Jesse James Rides Again, portraying the outlaw with depth and humanity. His performance led to a sequel, Adventures of Frank and Jesse James, and showed he could lead a franchise. Then, in 1949, George W. Trendle was looking to bring his radio hero, the Lone Ranger, to television. When Moore auditioned, he declared, "Mr. Trendle, I am the Lone Ranger." With his acrobatic background and commanding presence, he won the role. Although Trendle disliked Moore's voice, wanting it to match radio actor Brace Beamer's, Moore worked tirelessly with a vocal coach until he got it right. Despite initial doubts, Moore's version of the Ranger became iconic, seamlessly bringing the character to TV. The show's success soared, ranking among the top-rated programs. Moore's chemistry with Jay Silverheels, who played Tonto, made the show revolutionary. Silverheels, a native actor, brought dignity to a role often stereotyped, and audiences noticed the bond. They were equals, not master and servant. Yet pay disparities behind the scenes persisted. In 1952, Moore was abruptly replaced by John Hart, possibly due to a contract dispute or merchandising profits. Trendle believed the mask was more important than the man, but fans disagreed. During his absence, Moore took other roles under the name Clay Moore, but nothing matched the Ranger's fame. Hart's portrayal fell flat, and after a disappointing year, Moore returned, this time with better pay. Hart was quietly removed, and the show regained its spark. Moore went on to star in 169 of the show's 221 episodes, building a legacy that extended long past its 1957 finale. For the next 40 years, he continued to embody the Lone Ranger in public appearances, commercials, and interviews. In 1979, a court tried to prevent him from wearing the mask, but Moore fought back and won, keeping his hero alive. Behind the scenes, rights to the character shifted in 1954 to Jack Rather, who not only brought Moore back but also financed the final episodes himself. Even though ABC was still broadcasting in black and white, Clayton Moore insisted on filming the Lone Ranger in color, believing in the show's future. He took the character beyond television, starring in 2 theatrical feature films, The Lone Ranger, 1956, which grossed $1.55 million in the U.S., and The Lone Ranger and the Lost City of Gold, 1958, shot in Eastman color. Both films starred Moore and Jay Silverheels and became cult classics. Through the 1960s and 70s, Moore kept the Lone Ranger's spirit alive in commercials, including a memorable 1972 ad for Gino's Pizza Rolls that reunited him with Silverheels, both in full costume, playing off the iconic catchphrase, "Who was that masked man?" He also did ads for Aqua Velva, where his deep, familiar voice instantly connected with audiences. Moore only accepted roles that portrayed the Lone Ranger as a figure of honor and strong values. He saw the mask as more than a costume; it symbolized something deeply personal. Behind the scenes, however, life grew more turbulent. In August 1986, just 6 months after losing his wife of 43 years, Sally Allen Moore, he remarried. His new wife, Connie Crello, had been Sally's nurse, a fact that made many uncomfortable. The marriage ended by 1989. Still, in October 1986, the couple made headlines for helping an injured driver on a California freeway. Moore, in his 70s, jumped in to help, much like the hero he portrayed. After the divorce, Moore faced growing challenges. He was aging, grappling with his identity, and embroiled in a legal battle that struck at his core. In August 1979, the Jack Rather Corporation, which owned the Lone Ranger rights, obtained a court order barring Moore from wearing the mask in public. Despite playing the Lone Ranger in 221 episodes and making countless appearances over nearly 3 decades, Moore was told his presence could confuse audiences and threaten an $18 million film project. On the day of the hearing, Moore appeared in full costume, white hat and mask, but quietly left when asked to remove the hat. The mask meant too much. The ruling, based on an old contract clause and a precedent involving Bela Lugosi's son, devastated Moore. Rather's lawyer even called him schizophrenic and too old to be the Lone Ranger. Though the judge expressed sympathy, he ruled against Moore, ending a chapter that began in 1949. Moore didn't give up. In 1980, he cleverly partnered with Foster Grant Sunglasses, appearing in their "Who's Behind Those Foster Grants?" campaign. Dressed in his signature white hat, blue shirt, and red scarf, but no mask, Moore turned sunglasses into a new symbol for the Lone Ranger. Kids came to associate the character with shades instead of a mask. From 1980 to 1984, he maintained public presence without breaking court orders. Then came the 1981 film The Legend of the Lone Ranger, which flopped badly. The $18 million movie earned just $12 million. Lead actor Clinton Spilsbury looked the part but acted so poorly that his lines were dubbed over by James Keach. Critics mocked it, and Spilsbury's career ended abruptly. Director William A. Fraker never directed another movie. The battle Moore had fought wasn't just over a costume, it was about identity, legacy, and dignity. Finally, in September 1984, after 5 years of legal fighting, Moore regained the right to wear the mask. Jack Rather dropped the lawsuit just weeks before dying of cancer, and his widow Bonita Granville rather officially informed Moore's agent on October 17, 1984, that he could again wear the mask. Moore had never waited quietly. His Foster Grant campaign kept the character alive in a new form. When Moore appeared on the show Real People in 1980, the applause was so thunderous he couldn't speak. Over 1 million fans signed petitions supporting him. He received 500,000 personal letters. In 1982, he was inducted into the Stuntman's Hall of Fame, honoring his early days as a trapeze artist. In 1990, he was inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers in Oklahoma City, joining icons like John Wayne and Gary Cooper, and received the Western Heritage Award. In 1998, he was honored with the Golden Boot Founders Award for his lifetime contributions to Westerns. These awards weren't just for acting, they were for who he was. Moore often said, "Playing him made me a better person." He lived by the Lone Ranger's code and never missed a chance to honor his co-star Jay Silverheels, who played Tonto. On June 5, 1987, Moore received a unique star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame that read, "Clayton Moore, the Lone Ranger," the first and only star to feature both the actor's name and character. He arrived in full costume, greeted by fans with lunchboxes, comics, and toy guns to sign. It remains one of the most visited stars on Hollywood Boulevard. That same year, He was added to the Western Walk of Fame in Old Town Newhall, alongside legends like John Wayne. In 2004, his iconic black mask, worn after winning his court case, was added to the Smithsonian Institution's collection, symbolizing justice and perseverance. In 2009, the U.S. Postal Service honored him with a 44-cent stamp featuring Moore as the Lone Ranger on his horse, Silver, a rare tribute for an actor. In 1996, Moore released his memoir I Was That Masked Man, chronicling his journey from landing the role in 1949 to the painful court battle. He described getting the role simply by saying, "Mr. Trendle, I am the Lone Ranger." The book detailed the heartbreak of losing the right to wear the mask but also shared the overwhelming support he received from fans. He expressed no bitterness, only gratitude. During the book tour, Moore reminded everyone of the Lone Ranger's creed, that all people are equal and one person can make a difference. He didn't just play a hero, he was one. In his personal life, Moore experienced both happiness and sorrow. He was married 4 times, with his longest marriage to Sally Allen lasting from 1943 to 1986. They had one daughter, Dawn Angela. In 1992, at age 77, he married Clarita Petroni. Unlike past relationships, this one brought him peace. They shared a quiet life in Calabasas, and Moore gradually retreated from the public eye. Clarita later recalled his final days with heartbreak. She said his once strong features had faded, and his body had wasted away. But even in his 80s, Moore avoided being seen without his mask. He wanted to be remembered as the hero, not the frail man. Yet in his final moments, he let someone in. On his hospital bed, he reached for Clarita's hand, barely able to move or breathe, still offering comfort to someone else. That simple gesture said more than words ever could. On December 28, 1999, just after Christmas and days before the new millennium, Clayton Moore died of a heart attack at age 85. He had once said, "When I take off to that big ranch in the sky, I still want to have my white hat on." In a way, he did. He was buried wearing the legacy he built, leaving behind his wife, daughter, and a legend not just born from film and television, but forged in how he lived. Through 169 episodes, countless appearances, and decades of unwavering dignity, Clayton Moore proved that one man could still make a difference.